iRacing Skip Barber Race Championship always puts on a fantastic show, and those who tuned in last week got shown one after a fantastic last lap move at VIR Grand West. But tonight, for the second time in 3 weeks, the Skip Barber Series moves to Belgium as we take on the glorious yet often underrated Circuit Zolder, live on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. Don't go away. Welcome back here to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live as coverage begins here from Circuit Zolder for your iRacing Skip Barber Racing School Championship. Randy Chineth here along with Hugo Louis working the cameras, and the two of us will be bringing you all of the action tonight. Qualifying currently underway right now. Have a handful of times that have already been put through. The first laps of these are either completed, but still a number of drivers who need to put some times in, as well as the fact that everyone has a second round of laps that they can do. This championship thus far has been fantastic. A lot of good racing, which is what we've come to expect from this Skip Barber Racing School Series here on the iRacing service. As always, Wednesday nights being the home of this. And as usual, the normal names have really turned out. Adecobo Lopez, he's showing up for the first time in a while. Not seen him in quite a bit. Justin Tipton is here as well. Felipe Barrera, Jamie Simone, all the usual names, all the usual suspects are here tonight to battle it out. Let's take a look at the qualifying times as they currently sit. Ade is currently on top of the charts at 44.595. Only driver to get under the sixes, nonetheless under the sevens actually, because second place right now, Justin Tipton, he did a 44.75, so it's a big advantage right now in that number one car. And speaking of, Adecobo Lopez is going to come through, and he puts down another time. He goes even quicker, goes to a 44.299. Jordy Lopez gets down into the fives, but Adecobo Lopez very, very quick here right now. So Justin Tipton, he also improved to a 5.36, so number of drivers improving on their second lap. Carlos Herrera Sainz, he's in a 5.64, so everyone seems like lap number 2 is the lap that you're going to be putting down your fast lap on. Let's see if we have any drivers currently out there on a hot lap. Edwin Valerino is abandoning one. Michael Fiedler, he's coming off the final corner, so let's see if that number 13 car does. This is the end of his second lap. He invalidated his first one somehow, so hopefully this 13 machine gets a good one in, because he will not get a second opportunity. Comes across the stripe, and that time is going to be a 145.1, good for 14th on the racetrack. So about a mid-pack start for that 13 car, and I don't think he'll be overly happy with that. Another driver as well, the 3 of Tyler Hervias. He's coming now through the about halfway point of this racetrack, coming up to the Klein chicane onto the Yokohama Bridge, and quick left, quick right. This chicane very much a straight line. The other chicanes out there on the racetrack, the second and third chicanes, a little bit more of a, you have to get the car stopped and then turn it 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right, or 90 degrees right, 90 degrees left. So they come up towards the second chicane here, the Turlenbach segment of the racetrack. That first chicane, though, is very much a straight line section of the racetrack. You sort of just get the car slowed down and then point it basically towards the track out section exiting the chicane. It's super quick, and that's why it's so difficult to make passes at that end of the racetrack. Also why you see so many race-ending mistakes, because you're carrying so much speed through there. But through Boulderberg, as they come now through that hairpin, I'm not going to pronounce the names in Dutch because, well, I don't speak that language. They exited already the Jochen Rin chicane and down towards the Jackie East chicane. Quick, like I said, 90 degrees to the left, 90 degrees to the right. Then we'll be seeing what Tyler Hervias will have under his belt right now. The 45.2 his first time out. We've seen the second lap be quickest though from basically everyone in this field. Let's see what kind of time he throws in, and it's not valid. So unfortunate for the 3 machine, caught a 1X somewhere along the way, so he will not be improving. 20 seconds left in this session, and he's currently the only driver out on track, which means that our qualifying is pretty much all wrapped up. And as the timer gets ready to tick itself down, let's go down at your qualifying results here live for Circuit Zolder. So it's going to be that number 1 of Adecobo Lopez on pole with a 144.299, the only driver getting under the 5s, and he got all the way down to the 2s. Justin Tipton, he rounds off the outside of that front row with a 44.536. Carlos Reyes-Sainz and Jordi Lopez Jr., they make up row 2, with Diogo Francisco, your points leader, and Edwin Valerino on row number 3. Fahim Antonitis and Philippe Lebert, they make up row 4. Philippe not showing the pace you typically see from that number 2 machine. Hopefully he can pick up a little bit and get himself toward the front of the field. Derek Issa and Jamie Simone, they round out your top 10. Lucas Loyardi and Alex John, they make up row 11, with Jesus Martin Tamero and Michael Fiedler on row number 7, Tyler Hervias, Federico Montini, 15th and 16th on row 8. Andrew Precario, he's deeper than down the order than we're used to seeing, along with Justin Smith on row 9. And Karthik Pai and Mike McCormick, they make up the 20-car field here on row number 10. An exciting racetrack here at Zolder. Doesn't have quite the long straightaway that you're used to seeing in the Skip Barber Racing School Championship, but due to the lack of high speed these cars have, as well as the amount of drag they produce, always suspect that the slipstream very well might be a factor, even at a racetrack like Zolder. Zolder's typically known for being very difficult to pass on, especially in the faster cars. Any fast open wheel car and even the fast GT cars, very, very difficult to make moves around this place, but these cars don't quite have that speed, and they're much, much smaller, so moves should be able to be made a little bit easily here tonight. So with that, we're just going to wait for the last couple of cars to take up their qualifying grids, and as the revs begin to build, we have all the cars on the grid, and we wait the lights. And it's lights out, and we are racing here at Circuit Zolder. It's a good jump for pretty much everyone. I don't see anyone who really got a bad start up and down this field. I think everyone's going to cycle pretty much where they started here in towards corner number 1, as Adecobo Lopez doing a good job through this first sector. First side by side between Edwin Valerino and Diogo Francisco. Diogo in that 6 is the points leader in towards corner number 2, and 6 machine working momentum on that outside. If you can make it stick, you can oftentimes get the run through this right-hand kink, and the 6 machine does it. Philippe Lebert in the background, he's still trying to pick up spots, but nothing doing just yet. But now the first real braking zone on this racetrack, and through this fast right-hander, see a couple drivers putting the left wheels off as they now come down towards this tricky for chicane here at the tail end of this sort of middle straightaway. Hard on the brakes, down a couple gears, and you see what I mean. You just pitch the car a little bit to the left, and it's like threading a needle in one car. They don't get it quite right. They prick themselves on the finger. That was Jordi Lopez Jr. Hopefully not a little blood coming from that. That 5 machine very lucky to escape with that mistake, because the curbs through that chicane are so tall. Any little mistake and catching a little bit too much of them will really upset the car. That's what we saw from the 5 machine. A little bit of damage on that front wing after that little contact, but he should just be happy, still be out there and cruising. And that Adecobo Lopez still leads the way over Justin Tipton, and they run into the hairpin for the first time. Side by side in the background, that's between Jordi Lopez Jr. and Fahim Antonitis. Through the hairpin and down now this back straightaway here, the 4 of Justin Tipton, sort of having a look on Adecobo Lopez, but staying out of the slipstream down the center of the straightaway, so he's not going to have an opportunity into this final chicane for the first time. Lap number 1 of 14 is going to be logged in the books and complete tonight, and that's going to be Adecobo Lopez who leads lap number 1 for machine of Justin Tipton. He's still just lurking in that second spot. I think he knows that there's no real way to break away here at Zolder, which is typical in these Skip Barber cars. It's very rare to see a big breakaway here, so he's just lurking. The 11 machine, though, is Carlos Reyes-Sainz, super sideways to corner number 1, fighting that rear traction through that first corner, and he ended up getting it sorted. Justin Tipton also had a bit of an oversteer moment through that section of the racetrack, as well as seems like up and down your field, all 20 cars all have them. Actually, take that back. Tyler Hervias, he had a big impact in that number 3 machine. Not sure what happened. I'm going to sift through and get a look at what happened to Tyler here somewhere around the midpoint of this first lap. Actually, it must have happened down at the first chicane. I think there was a bit of a bobble up here once after that car got it wrong. Oh, he just got into the back of Michael Fielder, and then someone else drove into the back of him. So Tyler Hervias, that's going to be day done for him pretty much. Going to come down and get that quick repair, but beyond that, it's going to put him so far down the order. This is not going to be much he can really do here. As Adecobo Lopez still trying to fend off a charging Justin Tipton, while you still have Crosby and Sainz and Diogo Francisco. They're close in the fight for third and fourth on the racetrack as well, as we have a big gaggle of cars back from about 6th to about 11th or 12th place on the racetrack. Down into the hairpin for the second time. Adecobo Lopez still has just enough of a lead over Justin Tipton that he shouldn't have to worry about it. Tipton not doing himself any favors coming into that little kink. I'm not sure what happened to the 4 machine. I don't know if he got a black flag, a slowdown, or if there's damage, but very slow down this back straightaway for Tipton. One little mistake is oftentimes all it takes, and he dropped himself down to 4th. Again, not really sure what happened, but that psycho Carlos Sainz and Diogo Francisco into 2nd and 3rd, and Tipton, whatever that was, is not going to be happy. He's already working the slipstream here on the 6th of Diogo Francisco. Looks to the inside at corner number 1. Very difficult to make moves stick here, especially when you're not comfortably alongside. He only really had a nose, and then because you have the outside in a corner number 2, if you do not have enough of an overlap, you pretty much, there's almost no chance of getting the job done. That said, Diogo Francisco very wide through turn 2, so he may be opening the door of opportunity for the 4 of Justin Tipton through that turn 3 at the right-hand kink, and then now through turn 4, a little bit sharper right-hander here. The 4 machine will have the slipstream, but he pushes it very wide on the exit into the gravel trap, so Justin Tipton sort of hurting himself, and I don't think he's going to have an opportunity to make a move here. That little mistake from Justin has given your race leader, Adecobo Lopez, a huge advantage over the rest of the field. The gap about 1.2 seconds, so Carlos Sainz will not have any slipstream on that 1 machine to close in the gap, and we know that giving Adecobo Lopez a big lead like this often means he wins that race. Justin Tipton, though, fantastic move coming down in towards the 2nd chicane. He gets the job done on Francisco, so move him at least back into a podium position for now, but already shown he's a little bit accident prone tonight, maybe, well, let's say mistake prone tonight, so Justin Tipton, he's going to need to try to be clear here through these final 11 laps. Challenge for position behind, though. That's between Edwin Valerino and Jordi Lopez Jr. They're side by side through the apex of the hairpin, and they're going to come together at that 7 machine of Valerino very wide going into that Jackie X section of the racetrack, and they're 3 wide here. Felipe Bear is going to try to pass 3 cars on the run down in the 2nd chicane. That car in the background is completely broken. Suspension not pointed the right way at all. He gets to the safety pit road and another pileup. This is the 7 of Edwin Valerino. 4 cars involved here. And you're at the final corner on the racetrack. Oh no, that's not what you want to see whatsoever. You see a number of cars just dropping right down the order. Getting a replay of that incident up on your screens right here, right now. This started with the 10 of Derek Issa. He just got into the back of Edwin Valerino. Edwin, I think, a little bit checked up from Felipe Bear, who was fighting with Fahim Antonitis, and that basically just sacked him up and sent those 3 cars into the infield. Unfortunate incident there for them, and that's going to be race-ending damage for a couple of them, and on the back foot certainly for all the rest. So down in toward the first chicane once again. Our producer says what a weird incident, and I say the exact same thing. It was sort of an odd little situation there with the way that little pileup happened all the way down that back straightaway. But the 11 of Carlos Herrera Sainz, a little bit of damage, but he's still holding on to that 2nd spot with Justin Tipton 3rd. And Diogo Francisco, after losing that spot quickly to Justin Tipton, has held on to the back nicely of that 4 car. So it's a nice little 3-car train here. It's a gap to your race lead. This is exactly why I say you don't want to give that number 1 machine of Adecobo Lopez an advantage. He is out to a 2-second lead right now. The fight is on for 2nd. The 4 of Tipton looks to the outside here at the hairpin and not quite going to get the job done. Still has a nose, though, through that little chicane that's named after Jochen Rindt. And I think the 4 has a bit of a run, and he's going to take a look down into the Jackie X chicane. Hard on the brakes, down a couple gears now for Justin Tipton. Will he be up +1 spot? He doesn't have it through the left. Will he maintain momentum with the long way round through the right? The 6 of Diogo Francisco has a run. Tipton. I think they're going to think about making this 3 wide down this front straightaway. That's exactly what they do, as Justin Tipton has the preferred line down low. Diogo Francisco needs to get clear of that 11, hard on the brakes, and they're still 3 wide. Diogo gets that spot away from the 11 car, and Justin is still clear Diogo as well, so they get themselves through turn 1, 3 wide, all clean. Nice hard racing here for the final steps on your podium. But through turn 3, they're not done fighting just yet. Diogo Francisco has a run in towards 4. Not going to be able to make the move here. It's not a place you ever want to make the move, but down this straightaway, opportunities can be opened up. Carlos Ruiz-Sainz, he has a big head of momentum, even after using the gravel. Will he look down to the first chicane? He looks down to the outside. That's not typically how you want to make this move, and you see he just has to get right back in line. The 4 machine of Justin Tipton right on the ragged edge, as well as Diogo Francisco. Carlos Ruiz-Sainz, nowhere he could really go there. Had to check up, and suddenly this 3-car scrap has turned into a 5-car scrap. Felipe Bear as well as Fahim Antonitis, they've latched themselves onto the back of these two, but I don't know if this is the place you want to be right now, the way these drivers are racing one another. They're racing hard and forcing each other into mistakes. In towards the hairpin once again. Who's going to make a move? Felipe Bear looks to the outside of Carlos Sainz, but nothing given just yet for Felipe. Will he get a run down through the Jochen chicane? Such an awkward complex there. Such an easy little kink, but yet so difficult to take side by side. Felipe has the outside onto the X-Ski Sport sign and down towards the final chicane. 2 machine trying to work it the long way around. He'll have the inside line now on the cutback, and he doesn't even need it. He has a spot on the 11 of Carlos before ever coming on to this front straightaway. But down the front straightaway towards corner number 1, the 11 once again making the move on the 2 car. He wants that spot back, but we know it's so difficult to make passes stick. In towards corner number 1, and he's just going to hold on to it. Is Felipe Bear. Good defensive driving from him as the 8 machine. Fahim Antonitis, he wants to pick up a spot on Carlos as well. They're wheel to wheel through corner number 2 and in towards corner number 3. Still side by side as they work through the 4th corner, and you see a red car looking in the background. That's Lucas Loyardi. He's just sort of launched onto the back of this little train, as well as they're still side by side are Antonitis and Carlos Sainz. Into this first chicane, we know side by side it does not work. Through the left, Carlos Sainz give it up, and Fahim Antonitis, he moves himself into 5th, and now Carlos just falling like a brick right now. He needs to worry about Lucas Loyardi, who's just sitting there and lurking behind him as well. That 11 does not want to drop many more spots here. Through now towards the back sector of the racetrack for your race leaders. Ade Cobo Lopez still out to a casual 4.5 second advantage and only 6 laps of racing. It's going to be pretty much halfway here in a couple of laps time, coming to lap 7 of 14 this time across the stripe. Down the back straightaway once again for your fight in 2nd and 3rd. Diogo Francisco and Justin Tipton, they're still fighting for the 2nd spot. They're not going to go side by side into this final chicane just yet. I think they're going to play pretty nice with one another. These guys have been part of a couple big gaggles of cars throughout this opening 6 or 7 laps, and there's a number of drivers that were around these guys that are now much, much deeper down the order, pretty much as a cause of the hard racing they were doing. Just a little mistake here at this racetrack at Zolder will cost you a lot, and I think the fact that they've seen that happen to their competitors means they're going to be nice and patient with one another here and just get themselves taking the laps off towards the end unless someone sees an obvious opening. By the way, can I just say, Felipe Bear, fantastic running from him. We talked about the fact that he did not qualify as well as he likely would like. We normally see him among the top 2, top 3 in qualifying, if not at the top of the charts. He qualified 8th today, and he's already up to P4, so a hard-charging Felipe Bear in this one tonight. He's not the biggest mover, though. Michael Fielder, he's up 6th. Andrew Picario, he's up 8. So a number of drivers that are up a lot of spots in the opening laps of this one. Oh, the 2 machine, I just talked about him. And the fact that he's picking up spots through that first chicane, gets it all sorts of wrong, and he gets a lot of oversteer. Michael Fiedler in the background as well. And that 2 machine of Felipe Bear not going to be very happy with himself there. I think he did enough to keep that thing underneath him, but, well, not damage it too much really, but that 2 machine, well done by him. He is not going to be happy with himself at all. Sorry there, Philippe, to give you that little bit of the commentator's curse. As in the background, you still see a couple of gaggles, actually. You have Andrew Picario, Michael Fiedler, and Alex John. Those three are all locked together. And wheel to wheel right now are Jamie Salmonet as well as Catholic Plaque here down towards this back end of the racetrack. Catholic Pie down towards the final corner, and in Catholic, he's going to get that spot. Jamie Simonet is going to drop one, and Justin Smith, he tossed his hat in the ring trying to pick up a spot. Not working, but they're going to go 3 wide. This is the second, third time we've seen this in this race already. Half distance now, scored complete is the 14 of Jamie Simonet in the middle, trying to defend his position. He breaks a little bit earlier than the two that are flanking him, but he says, I got jokers to the left of me. And he's going to be able to make that stick as Justin Smith, but he's not going to pick up the spot as through corner number 2. He's just going to be able to make that stick. And Jesus Martin Tamero, who tried so hard to get that move done around the outside, not quite going to be able to make it stick. Another 3-car scrap happening. Andrew Picario, Michael Fiedler, and Alex John down into the first chicane. They're all jockeying for position as Andrew Picario, he gets turned for Michael Fiedler. This is the second or third time we've seen this. It's a 20 machine of Alex John. He had no dog in that fight. He unfortunately gets taken out in that incident. No mistake of his own whatsoever. I'm not sure what happened. If Andrew Picario just broke early, Andrew's car is pretty damaged. So that number 9 machine may not have been driving as well as you'd like, may have broken a little earlier than the 13 machine expected, or 13 machine may have just flat out missed the braking point as 13 of Michael, he took a big trip up and over the curves as well, and that's 3 cars whose race pretty much ruined from there. Very, very little mistake, silly little mistake there. Is all it takes. We've seen this at Zolder. We're typically used to very close races at this racetrack, but not quite like this, as Fahim Antonitis, he's still fighting with Carlos Arias-Sainz down towards the final chicane. Carlos works through the outside of the left-hander, now through the right. Normally you see this be the preferred line to make moves stick, but for Fahim Antonitis, he's going to make it work. As the 11 of Carlos, I don't know what happened if he caught a sausage curve. That was a terrible final chicane for him, and he's going to drop another spot to Philippe Lebert in towards corner number 1. 2 machine, a little bit on a recovery drive here. After that mistake, he gets himself back in towards the top 5. Now just needs to defend this inside line from Carlos, and that's exactly what he's going to do. But it's just, I don't know, it's sort of weird. A lot of silly little mistakes coming out tonight. We've worked one of the most treacherous racetracks of the season at VIR Grand West last week. It was a very, very clean race. There's a lot of long straightaways, a lot of drafting to happen at that place, and very, very clean race in terms of individual mistakes, in terms of car-to-car contacts as well. But tonight, it's just been like a boxing match. Here comes the 11 of Carlos Sainz. He has a bit of a run, and he looks to the inside of Philippe Lebert, just harassing the mirror, but he ducks back, doesn't commit to the move. Very wise decision by him. Is still Carlos. He just doesn't look comfortable through that first chicane as Lucas Loyardi all over the back of him now, and there's a big gap between him and Philippe. Most of your other lead fights have pretty much spread themselves out, by the way. Adecobo Lopez still just casually dominating this race. Justin Tipton, Diogo Francisco, they're still very close, only separated by a few tenths of a second and just latched together. It's going to be 5 laps to go when we get to the stripe here. It's Fahim Antonitis. He's still fighting with Philippe Lebert. Philippe looks down to the inside now, in towards this little left-to-right kink at Jochen Rinbolt, and now down this back straightaway in towards the Jackie Hicks complex on the racetrack. The 8 machine has the inside line, but we know you can make moves stick around the outside. The way this chicane cuts back in the 2 machine of Philippe Lebert, he caught that sausage curve, but he's going to be able to make it work. The 11 machine of Carlos Sainz, big run through the chicane as well. He's going to toss his hat in the ring. He wants a spot on Fahim Antonitis. Down this front straightaway in towards corner number 1. Philippe Lebert is trying to sort of take both their lines away to not make it 3 wide, and through corner number 1, Carlos Sainz, he's a little bit too wide through the center of the corner, and I think he's not quite going to be able to hold on to this, but going to be a brave move in towards 2. But no, the 11 machine backs out of it. All the while, Lucas Loyardi, he's just been latched onto the back of these 3 for the last half dozen laps or so, just saying, guys, please, just give me all these spots. And you can do this. The 11 makes a little bit of a contact there with Fahim Antonitis, but the 8 machine makes it stick. As through corner number 4, they're going to come and down towards this middle straightaway. Philippe Lebert has once again opened up a big margin, and Carlos Sainz, who we've seen be so uneasy through this section of the racetrack. Too late on the brakes, gets into the back of the He-Man tonight as Carlos. That was a silly little mistake, and that 8 machine's going to go upside down. Lucas Loyardi somehow avoids that flipping car and pretty much drives underneath them, so Lucas is going to be a happy camper. But Carlos, I think that was a little overeager, especially in that sector of the racetrack where he's looked so uneasy, made so many little mistakes, and given up so much time to his other drivers. Fight is on for second, though. Diogo Francisco, he looks up the inside of Justin Tipton down at the hairpin through the Yachten Ring King. The 4 machine has the run on the outside, so Justin Tipton's going to hold on to second for now. But now the fact that Diogo Francisco has fired the first shots across the bow, Justin Tipton is now intensely going to be watching his mirrors. Not to say he hasn't been doing so already, but now he knows that it's time for Diogo Francisco. He thinks that he needs to start making moves because the lap counter is ticking down very, very quickly, and he might run out of opportunities. He lifts off the throttle going into 1, so he doesn't feel he can make the move there. So he's just going to cruise behind the 4 machine of Justin Tipton for now. But keep in mind, we saw this from Diogo last week when he ran down and took the win away from Felipe Bear at VIR Grand West. He tried a maneuver lap on lap on lap and could never make it work until he eventually muscled his way into that race victory on the final lap 7 days ago. Through now towards this middle stretch of the racetrack, Justin Tipton has the line in towards the first chicane, so I don't think it's going to be a move here. This is one of the worst passing opportunities on the racetrack into this first chicane, and see the 6 machine, he gets a good run out of it though, and you can make moves into the second chicane, up and over the hill and through this long downhill left-hander for the 6 and the 4 machine, battling wheel to wheel for the second spot. The 6 into this section of the racetrack can make moves here in the 6 machine of Diogo Francisco. All it takes is one perfect corner, he gets the run, and through that second chicane, he's going to muscle his way into the second spot. Brilliant move by your points leader. Up and down the field, just having a look, seems like most of your fights have gotten themselves somewhat spread out. Jesus Martin Tamero and Jamie Simone, they're still close together, however. This is for the tail end of your top 10, 9th and 10th on the racetrack. Jesus Martin Tamero has actually just gotten into that 9th spot on this lap, so Jamie Simone, he's going to be keen on getting that back here in the next couple laps, and he's not let that 18 machine break away at all. And just in front of them, you have Karthik Pai and Justin Smith. They're very, very close together as well, running in 7th and 8th. Everyone else pretty much gotten themselves on their own little island at this point. Fight for 2nd and 3rd, and that fight for 9th and 10th is where we're really going to have to keep an eye on over the closing laps in this one. 9th and 10th, they're going to be nice with each other through the final complex. As 2nd and 3rd, they're going to be single file through this first complex as well, as it's 3 laps to go here at Zolder. The little Skip Barber Formula 2000 car that put on one of the best races I've ever seen at this racetrack. Like I said, it's usually not the greatest for the super fast stuff, but anything club level is awesome. 6 machine of Diogo Francisco gets a run through corner number 4, and he gives it up. So he does not want to make the move here at the first chicane, and that's important because we know that 6 car is uncomfortable making the move down at turn 1, and he's not comfortable making the move here at the chicane at turn 5. But up and over the hill, this is the second time we've seen this from the 6 car. Justin Tipton was able to muscle his way back into that spot, though. Now he's going to have to do it the long way around. Deep on the brakes, though, is Diogo. Can he make this one stick? He's got the spot once again. Second time we've seen this, but can he hold on to it? Through now the double right sector of this racetrack and down towards the run into the hairpin. The 4 machine of Justin Smith, he's going to be Justin Tipton rather. He's going to be very aggressive. He already has the inside line. Diogo not really cutting it off at all, sort of giving him that inside stripe. I think Diogo needs to be a little bit more defensive down to that section of the racetrack, and he's already taken and lost that second spot twice now in 2 laps. But will he be aggressive down in towards the final chicane here as we're coming to 2 to go? He will not. He decides to keep it single file, and through that final chicane he's going to sit. So that 6 machine of Diogo Francisco, I don't understand it. He made that spot up and lost it the same way 2 laps in a row. Once he did it around the outside though the second time. That was quite impressive, but no defensive line going into the hairpin, and the hairpin really is one of the best passing opportunities on this racetrack, just sort of letting Justin Tipton waltz right into that second spot. 9th and 10th continue to remain as they run, though. Jesus Tamero has done a good job to hold on to that spot. But with 2 laps to go, you know that Jamie Simone is going to be so aggressive in trying to get that spot back. Fight is on for the battle for second, though, once again, is down this middle straightaway. Will the 6 machine be brave in toward this first chicane, or is he just harassing that number 4 car? He's got the inside line, does Diogo Francisco, so he looked like he hasn't been comfortable making the move there, but this time he's done it. But it's a very slow run through that first chicane for the 6th and Diogo Francisco. Justin Tipton going to be working the outside through this left-hander, but he would have had the inside down in the second chicane, but he lifts out of it. So, again, very passive driving coming from the 2 of these drivers. Sometimes being super aggressive trying to make a move stick, and other times lifting out of something. I think the 4 machine of Tipton, I think he had an opportunity there to get that second spot back, and he just chose not to utilize it. Don't really know what else to say about that one, but through the hairpin now for the penultimate time, it's going to be white flag in the air once they get to the stripe. And now, if you're Justin Tipton, you're just hoping somehow, some way that Diogo Francisco makes a mistake. Race leader Adecobo Lopez, though, is down on towards the front straightaway. He takes the white flag right now. So lap number 14 of 14 begins. Justin Tipton and Diogo Francisco, they take the white flag, and this is the fight we're going to watch over this final lap. Justin's going to be aggressive in towards corner number 1. We know that Diogo wasn't comfortable going side by side here. Justin is fully alongside, but that 6 machine has a bit of a nose on him, and he can work the momentum through the outside. 6 machine is going to be safe through turn 2. No way you can make a move here, and especially through turns 3 and 4. Diogo not going to have much to worry about. It's going to be going into the first chicane that the 6 machine is going to have to worry. Through now this little right-hander, just be picture perfect and you'll be all right through this section of the racetrack. Diogo Francisco pushes a little wide. That's going to affect his top speed, and Justin Tipton has momentum. You see Diogo going defensive, goes to the middle of the racetrack. The 4 wants to try to work the outside, and they're going to go through this sector side by side. 6 machine, though, straight lines it perfect, hops those curves beautifully, exactly the way you want to through that first chicane. So now Diogo Francisco has a few car widths on Justin Tipton to be able to defend here. He's going to be safe on the braking zone into the second chicane. Quick right, quick left, and now the double right. But the 4 of Justin Tipton is so quick through that sector of the racetrack. He's closed up all that time he's lost through the first chicane. Now the run down to the hairpin. Diogo has lost a spot here a couple times, and again, he doesn't cut it off. Tipton has the run down low, and I think he's going to be able to pick up this second spot into the hairpin now. Through Boulderberg and into the Yockenrin chicane, and Justin Tipton is going to take that second spot away on this final lap. Down this little back straightaway, though, they will come in the 6 machine. Was he going to try it on the brakes into the final chicane? No. Ahead of them, Adecobo Lopez. He's going to come across the stripe and win. But between these two, is Diogo Francisco going to have an opportunity? No. The passiveness and a lack of defensive driving means that Justin Tipton is going to hold on to that second spot. Looking back towards that fight for 9th and 10th, they're pretty much continue to drive as they run, so neither of them are going to pick up a spot. Actually, they picked up a spot. We may have lost a driver on that last lap because now they're both in 8th and 9th, but they're in the order that they were running at the start of the last lap, so I'm not sure who we lost. But regardless, it was a big win for Adecobo Lopez and a big run between Justin Tipton and Diogo Francisco. There is still a fight out there on the racetrack. This is between Edwin Valerino and Derek Issa. They're coming now, exiting the second chicane on the run of the hairpin. Edwin Valerino just took that 15th spot away. Into the hairpin, though, the 10 car nowhere near close enough to make a move, but Edwin makes a mistake into the hairpin. This is going to open the door for Derek Issa through the Yockenrin chicane, and now he's going to have the slipstream. Will that 10 of Derek Issa? He pulled out of it super early. I don't know why. He's just hurting himself. He definitely has an opportunity to make here. Down in towards the final chicane. Quick left, quick right, and that 10 machine of Derek Issa. He has a little bit of a run, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Working the slipstream, Derek, I think you were just a little too passive working that draft in towards that final chicane, and unfortunately it's not going to pay off for him as he's going to lose that spot to Edwin Valerino on that final lap. A lot of intense fighting here at Zolder, and as I predicted, these little cars with their amount of drag they provide, especially with the lack of top end, we're going to put on a show here at Zolder, and they did. And with that, let's go down your post-race results here from round number 6. So 6 races down, 6 to go. We are officially in the halfway section of the season. Can you believe we're already halfway through this 2018 season 1? I cannot. Adecobo Lopez, big win here, as I said before, with Justin Tipton and Diogo Francisco. Fantastic fight between those two for 2nd and 3rd. Philippe Bear will finish 4th tonight, with Lucas Loyardi rounding out the top 5. Karthik Pai will finish in 6th, Justin Smith 7th, Jesus Martin Camaro in 8th, Jamie Simone 9th, and Mike McCormick will round out the top 10. Alex John will finish 11th, Jordi Lopez Jr. 12th, Tyler Hervias 13th, Federico Montini 14th, Edwin Valerino 15th, Derek Issa 16th, Carlos Arias Sainz in 17th, Fahim Antonitis 18th, Angel Picario 19th, and Michael Fiedler will round out the top 20 in this one. Well, if you're not done watching Race Spot TV, and if you're not done consuming some iRacing content, don't be afraid, because there is a plenty of it coming on this weekend. We have, of course, Friday prime time, as always, at its usual time, and then we're going to be having, of course, Friday night dirt night with the Rallycross cars and the World of Outlaw sprints and late models. We're also going to be having on the Race Spot Facebook page a bit of a preview show for the 24 hours of Daytona. That is going to be happening tonight, this weekend, You get to see the C7 DP, the 2 GTE cars, the Ferrari and the Ford, as well as the GT3 machines of the Audi, Mercedes, and Ferrari duke it out for 24 hours around the legendary Daytona racetrack. This is going to be the first time we see this combination of cars going head-to-head in a 24-hour race at Daytona. It is not something we have seen yet on the iRacing service, is those GTE cars fight with that particular prototype and those GT3 cars over a 24-hour event. Also, you have the Sim Racing Grand Prix. That's the Norwegian series that's coming at you on Sunday. Of course, the Joe Gibbs off-season action series coming at you on Sunday evening as well. But from everyone here at Race Spot TV on iRacing Live, from myself, Randy Chineth, and from Hugo Louis, we thank you for tuning in on this one, and we hope to see you for all those shows I just mentioned this weekend, and definitely be back next week when these cars go to Snetterton. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.